Beneath our cities lies another world, one that was never meant to see the sun. From ancient temples carved under stone to forgotten passageways beneath empires, tunnels have always held a double purpose: protection and secrecy. In Rome, the catacombs stretched for miles, carrying not just the dead, but the hidden rituals of the living. In Cappadocia, entire underground cities were carved into rock, vast labyrinths where thousands once survived invasions unseen. Even today, in places like Las Vegas, people live in tunnels under the neon lights, carrying a shadow existence. What connects all of them is this: the tunnel is never just stone and earth. It is a passage between worlds, safety and danger, seen and unseen. The deeper you go, the closer you step into the unknown. And the question has always remained: were these tunnels only built by human hands? Or were they following something older? The Byzantine emperors of Constantinople knew a secret. Power is not only held on the throne, but beneath it. Beneath the palaces of Istanbul, vast cisterns and hidden tunnels were carved, holding water, treasure, and sometimes prisoners. They were arteries of survival during siege, and corridors of escape when kingdoms fell. And further east, in Cappadocia, archaeologists uncovered entire underground networks: kitchens, stables, chapels, stacked for 13 levels beneath the earth. Here, thousands lived for months, unseen, surviving invasions from Persians and later Mongols. But history only tells half the story. Local legends whisper that these tunnels were not simply shelters, but gateways to the underworld, places where the living and the spirits could meet. It raises a question: were these labyrinths built only for survival, or were they part of a larger spiritual design, a mirror of heaven carved into the earth itself? In Europe, the story of underground labyrinths takes an even darker turn. Beneath the streets of Rome lie the catacombs, miles of tunnels where early Christians buried their dead in secret, hiding both their faith and their bodies from persecution. These were not just graves, but sanctuaries, echoing with prayers whispered in the dark. Centuries later, Paris would mirror this with its infamous catacombs, where the bones of 6 million people were stacked neatly along stone walls. Officially, it was a solution to overflowing cemeteries, but visitors often spoke of strange presences, of whispers and shadows that clung to the passages. Some esoteric schools claimed these tunnels were deliberately arranged as maps of the cosmos, the bones not just remains, but markers in a spiritual architecture. What if death itself was meant to be navigated like a labyrinth, and these underground worlds were training grounds for the soul's final journey? If these hidden tunnels carry echoes of power, fear, and mystery, what else lies just beneath our feet? If you want to keep uncovering the forgotten truths buried in history's shadows, make sure you subscribe and step with us deeper into the unknown. In ancient Asia, tunnels weren't only passages of stone. They were considered veins of the earth, channels where spirits and gods could pass. In India, yogic texts describe subterranean chambers where initiates faced darkness for days, believing that only by confronting absolute shadow could the inner light awaken. In China, Taoist masters spoke of hidden grottos said to lead into the realm of immortals. These weren't myths to them. They were maps of initiation. To descend was not just physical but spiritual. Each step into the underground was a step into the unknown self. And throughout Southeast Asia, temples like Angkor Wat were built with secret tunnels beneath, places whispered to be both refuge and ritual. To the common eye, they were escape routes, but to the initiated, they were bridges, between the human and the divine, between life and eternity. Centuries passed, yet the mystery of tunnels never faded. In the modern world, explorers known as urbex adventurers crawl into forgotten shafts under cities, armed with flashlights and cameras, chasing what history left behind. Archaeologists, too, have uncovered vast underground networks once thought to be myth. In Turkey, the discovery of Derinkuyu revealed an entire hidden city beneath the earth, tunnels stretching for miles, chambers for thousands of people carved centuries ago. In Scotland, the so-called Pictish tunnels sparked debate. Were they storage or sanctuaries of ritual? Even in modern Europe, entire W2 bunkers and Cold War tunnels lie abandoned, their silence echoing with secrets of fear and power. Each discovery reminds us that the underground is never empty. It is a vault of human memory, a mirror of survival and belief. To descend today, just like in the past, is to touch a hidden layer of history. But not all tunnels are empty relics of the past. Beneath modern cities, people still carve out lives in the shadows. In Las Vegas, hundreds live in storm drains just a few feet below the casino's neon glow. Families build makeshift rooms, decorate walls, even run small libraries, a hidden world mirroring the one above. In Bucharest, Romania, children of the streets once found refuge in vast utility tunnels, ruled by figures who became both protectors and tyrants. These aren't just places of survival, they're societies born underground. Their existence forces us to ask, why does humanity always return to tunnels when pressed to the edge? Maybe because the earth itself offers shelter, secrecy, and silence when the world above becomes unbearable. Just as ancient priests sought refuge in stone corridors, the forgotten of today find sanctuary beneath our feet. The tunnels are not dead history. They breathe with human struggle and resilience. Every tunnel is more than stone and soil. It is a mirror of the human journey. To walk through a tunnel is to leave the light, surrender to darkness, and trust that somewhere ahead, another light will appear. Ancient mystics used this imagery again and again. The tunnel is the passage between life and death, ignorance and wisdom, despair and awakening. In Hermetic texts, the underworld was never just a place below. It was the inner descent into the self, where shadows must be faced before the soul could rise. Even today, stepping into a tunnel stirs something primal, fear of being lost, but also the hope of transformation. Perhaps that is why these hidden corridors fascinate us. They reflect our own inner labyrinth. The truth is, tunnels are not only beneath cities, they are inside us, and only by walking into the darkness do we discover the light we carry within. Every tunnel is more than stone and soil. It is a mirror of the human journey. To walk through a tunnel is to leave the light, surrender to darkness, and trust that somewhere ahead, another light will appear. Ancient mystics used this imagery again and again. The tunnel is the passage between life and death, ignorance and wisdom, despair and awakening. In Hermetic texts, the underworld was never just a place below. It was the inner descent into the self, where shadows must be faced before the soul could rise. Even today, stepping into a tunnel stirs something primal, fear of being lost, but also the hope of transformation. Perhaps that is why these hidden corridors fascinate us. They reflect our own inner labyrinth. The truth is, tunnels are not only beneath cities, they are inside us, and only by walking into the darkness do we discover the light we carry within. So what do these tunnels truly teach us? That they are not relics of the past, but reflections of every age, including ours. In ancient times, they carried priests, treasures, and secrets. In medieval cities, they sheltered rebels and thieves. In modern metropolises like Las Vegas, they give refuge to the forgotten, the invisible. Each era carves its own tunnels, physical or symbolic, as if humanity cannot escape this instinct to hide, to protect, to seek. And perhaps that's the point. Tunnels remind us that beneath the surface of every society lies another world, hidden, fragile, alive. Some enter to escape danger, others to discover truth. But all who walk the tunnels confront the same question. What do we choose to carry with us into the dark? Because the tunnel does not just lead outward, it leads inward. And those who dare to enter may find that what they feared in the shadows was simply themselves. Do you think these underground tunnels were just human survival shelters? Or could they have been built as gateways to something far more mysterious?